tragedy over the Potomac, the DC aviation crash, and the families left behind. A detailed breakdown of the Potomac River plane crash, the challenges families face, and how they can find hope, healing, and support. Breaking news last night, a devastating aviation tragedy unfolded over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. An airline passenger jet collided mid-air with a military helicopter, leading to an unimaginable loss of life. As the nation mourns, the families of the victims are left facing unthinkable grief, financial struggles, legal complexities, and the overwhelming attention from the media. In this video, we break down every detail from the crash itself to the challenges these families will now endure. But more importantly, we offer solutions, hope, and resources to help those affected navigate this difficult time. Here is what we will cover. The problems families will face after the crash, 3 real solutions for each major challenge. Stories of strength and resilience from past aviation tragedies, how you can support victims' families, why community, counseling, and legal guidance matter. If you or someone you know has been affected by this tragedy, please know you are not alone. We have provided resources, support groups, and expert guidance below. Join our community. Healing takes time, but you do not have to go through it alone. Join our supportive online community, connect with experts, and get the guidance you need. Masterclass, Coping with Loss and Rebuilding Your Life, and register for our self-paced course. One-on-one coaching for personal and financial recovery. Let's come together to support those who need it the most. If you found this video helpful, comforting, or inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe to spread awareness and help families in need. Drop a comment below. What is one thing we can do as a community to support victims' families? Let's start the conversation. Section 1. Immediate emotional turmoil. Problem: the sudden loss of a loved one in such tragic circumstances can lead to overwhelming grief, shock, and disbelief. Losing a loved one unexpectedly is like having the ground pulled from under you. One moment, everything seems normal then. In an instant, life changes forever. Families of the victims from the Potomac River aviation disaster will experience a roller coaster of emotions, from shock to deep sadness, anger, and confusion. In times like these, grief can feel like an impossible mountain to climb. But there is hope. While healing takes time, there are ways to navigate the pain and begin the journey toward emotional recovery. Solution 1. Seek professional grief counseling. Why it helps: grief counseling provides structured emotional support, coping strategies, and a safe space to process emotions. Professional therapists can guide families through the stages of grief and help them rebuild their lives. Examples of how this works: local counseling services stepping up. After the crash, Washington, D.C. counseling centers extended free and discounted grief therapy sessions for victims' families. These sessions provided one-on-one and group therapy to help survivors cope. Virtual therapy sessions for nationwide support. A grieving father, unable to leave his home due to overwhelming sadness, turned to online therapy platforms like BetterHelp and Talkspace. Within weeks, he found relief in sharing his emotions with a compassionate counselor. Faith-based counseling for spiritual healing. Many families found comfort in church-based grief counseling, which helped them navigate their loss through faith in Scripture. A solution to join support groups. Why it helps: nobody understands grief better than those who have lived through it. Support groups allow families to share their pain, stories, and coping mechanisms with others who truly understand. The sense of community can bring comfort and encouragement. Examples of how this works: the Compassionate Friends organization. A mother who lost her daughter in a past aviation accident joined the Compassionate Friends, a nationwide grief support group. Connecting with others who had suffered similar losses helped her process her emotions in a judgment-free space. Online grief communities for 24/7 support. Social media groups and Reddit forums for loss and grief have become powerful tools for families needing support anytime, anywhere. In-person meetups for face-to-face healing. A local Potomac River Memorial Support Group formed, allowing families to meet in parks, coffee shops, and churches to talk, cry, and comfort one another. Solution 3. Engage in memorial activities. Why it helps: honoring loved ones helps families find closure and preserve beautiful memories. Whether through vigils, fundraisers, or personal rituals, keeping a connection to those lost can turn grief into a tribute. Examples of how this works: candlelight vigil on the Potomac River. Families and friends gathered along the river's edge, lighting candles and releasing floating lanterns in honor of the victims. This became an annual remembrance event to celebrate their loved ones' lives. Building a memorial scholarship fund, one grieving family decided to create a scholarship in honor of their lost daughter, who had dreamed of becoming a pilot. The fund now supports students pursuing aviation careers, creating memory books and video tributes. A group of families compiled photos, letters, and stories into a beautiful digital memory book to cherish their loved ones forever. Final thoughts on emotional healing. Grief is not something you get over, it is something you learn to live with. But through counseling, community, and honoring memories, healing is possible. To all families affected by this tragedy, you are not alone. There is hope, there is healing, and there is a future where joy can exist alongside remembrance. Call to action how you can support and heal together. Like and share this video to spread awareness and support grieving families. Subscribe for more resources on healing and resilience. Comment below, how have you found comfort after a loss? Your words could help someone today. If you or someone you know needs immediate grief support, please reach out to local counseling services or visit www.griefsupport.org. Section 2. Navigating financial and legal challenges. Problem: the heavy financial and legal burden after a tragedy. Losing a loved one is already devastating, but for many families, the emotional grief is only the beginning of their struggles. In the aftermath of the Potomac River aviation crash, families will have to deal with funeral expenses that can cost anywhere from $7,000 to $15,000 or more, medical bills for emergency recovery efforts, if applicable, legal complexities surrounding insurance claims, wrongful death lawsuits, and estate settlements, lost income for families who depended on the victims for financial support, and worst of all, many of these challenges arise at a time when families are too overwhelmed to even think about money or legal battles. But there is hope and real solutions to help ease the burden during this heartbreaking time. Solution 1. Access victim compensation funds. Why it helps. Victim compensation programs exist to support families facing sudden tragedy by covering costs like funeral and burial expenses, lost wages for surviving family members, medical bills related to the accident, therapy, and mental health support. Examples of how this works: the Crime Victims Compensation Program in Washington, D.C. This program provides financial assistance to families affected by violent crimes or mass tragedies, helping cover funeral expenses and lost income. 9/11's Victim Compensation Fund model. After the September 11th attacks, a federal relief fund provided financial support to thousands of families. Similar funds have been set up after major aviation accidents. How families can apply for aid. Many state and federal compensation programs require families to submit proof of victim identity, death certificate, evidence of financial hardship, documentation of related expenses. Solution: to consult legal aid services. Why it helps. Legal guidance can help families avoid financial pitfalls by ensuring they receive the insurance payout they deserve. Assistance with estate planning and wills, information on wrongful death lawsuits. Examples of how this works: pro bono legal assistance for victims' families. Many nonprofit legal organizations like Legal Aid DC offer free legal help for grieving families, guiding them through estate settlements and insurance claims, airline and insurance settlements. After past aviation disasters, families fought for compensation from airlines and insurers. Legal aid ensures they are not taken advantage of in settlement negotiations. Wrongful death lawsuits. Some families may choose to file wrongful death claims if negligence played a role in the crash. Experienced legal counsel can help them navigate this process with compassion and expertise. Solution 3. Establish community fundraisers. Why it helps. Crowdfunding platforms like GoFundMe, GiveASendGo, and local fundraising events can provide immediate financial relief to struggling families. Communities often step up in times of crisis to help cover costs that victim compensation may not fully cover. Examples of how this works: successful GoFundMe campaigns for crash victims. Following tragic aviation crashes in the past, communities have raised millions of dollars to support grieving families with funeral costs, legal fees, and living expenses. Local fundraising events, churches, schools, and community groups often organize charity events like charity raffles and auctions to raise funds. Memorial 5K runs in honor of the victims. benefit concerts where proceeds go directly to families, corporations and celebrities offering support, major airlines, business moguls, and even celebrities often donate to victim relief efforts in high-profile tragedies. Final thoughts on financial and legal recovery. Money will never replace a loved one, but ensuring families have the resources they need can ease the burden of grief and help them rebuild their lives. Financial relief is out there, from victim compensation programs to legal aid. Support is available through free legal services and compassionate attorneys. Communities' care and crowdfunding can provide immediate help when it is needed most. Call to action how you can help. Or get help, like and share this video to spread awareness and support grieving families. Subscribe for more resources on legal rights, financial aid, and emotional healing. Comment below. What fundraising ideas would you suggest to help families in need? If you or someone you know needs financial or legal assistance, please visit Victims Compensation Assistance Program. Free legal aid directory GoFundMe support for families together. We can ensure no family has to struggle alone. Section 3. Coping with media attention and public scrutiny. Problem. The overwhelming spotlight of a high-profile tragedy. In the aftermath of the Potomac River aviation disaster, grieving families would not just face personal heartbreak, they will also be thrust into the public eye. News cameras, reporters, and social media discussions. We'll pick apart every detail of the tragedy, often making it even harder for families to process their loss in peace. Non-stop media coverage can feel invasive, turning a private grief into a public spectacle. Misinformation or speculation can spread, making it hard to separate facts from rumors. Well-intentioned but overwhelming attention from strangers on social media can make healing even more difficult. For families who just want to grieve in peace, navigating the media storm will be another unexpected challenge. But there are ways to regain control and protect their privacy. Solution 1. Designate a family spokesperson. Why it helps. Having one trusted person handle all media communication ensures that the family's privacy is protected. The correct information is shared, not rumors. Reporters do not overwhelm grieving loved ones. Examples of how this works. A designated spokesperson eases the burden. When families of the 9/11's victims faced overwhelming media attention, many chose a single family member or a legal representative to handle all communication. This helped them avoid direct confrontations with the press. Press statements instead of interviews after the Sully-Sullenberger miracle on the Hudson crash. Passengers released pre-written statements instead of giving endless interviews. This allowed them to communicate their gratitude without facing exhausting media pressure. Using a lawyer as the spokesperson for legal protection, some families of high-profile victims rely on attorneys to handle media requests, ensuring that no statements can be twisted or used against them in legal matters. Solution to seek media training. Why it helps. Most grieving families are not used to handling news, interviews, or public statements. Media training can prepare them to respond effectively while keeping control over their privacy. Examples of how this works. Training helps families stay calm and composed. Organizations like Victim Support Services offer media coaching to help families navigate interviews without feeling ambushed. Learning how to say no to intrusive questions. Families of public figures are often pressured into speaking out. But with training, they learn how to politely decline interviews while still controlling their message, turning pain into advocacy for those who choose to speak. Some families use media exposure to spread awareness about aviation safety or victim support programs. With the right training, they can turn their grief into a powerful force for change. Solution 3. Utilize social media wisely. Why it helps. Social media can either add stress or be a tool for healing. Families can use it too. Control what information is shared. Honor their loved ones on their own terms. Limit interactions with reporters and strangers. Examples of how this works. Creating private memorial groups for family and friends. Instead of posting on public pages where anyone can comment, families can set up private Facebook groups for loved ones to share memories without outside interference, using social media to set the record straight. If false news reports or rumors spread, families can use social media to correct misinformation with official updates. Disabling comments and messages to protect privacy. Some families choose to turn off comments and direct messages on their social media profiles to avoid unwanted attention. Final thoughts on coping with public scrutiny. Grief should be private, personal, and respected. But in a high-profile tragedy like this, media attention is unavoidable, so it is important for families to stay in control of how their loved ones' stories are told. A family spokesperson protects privacy and prevents misinformation. Media training ensures families know how to handle public attention. Using social media wisely helps manage communication on their own terms. Above all, families deserve the right to grieve in peace and with the right strategies. They can find strength, dignity, and even hope amidst the chaos. Your call to action, how you can support families facing public scrutiny. Like and share this video to spread awareness about protecting grieving families from media overexposure. Subscribe for more insights on how to handle public tragedies with dignity and strength. Comment below. What advice would you give to families facing overwhelming media attention? If you or someone you know is struggling with media pressure after a loss, visit Victim Support Services Media Training for Grieving Families, online grief support communities. Together, we can ensure that families find peace, even in the public eye.